Elizabeth. I'm from KDKA. I'm the Director of Community Impact and also the host of Intersections Community Leadership.
So we couldn't have put on this event without some terrific partners. If you've seen the program, you've seen all the folks that helped make this a reality. But we couldn't have done this in person if not for the generosity and support of Point Park University, whose beautiful theater we're in. And I'd just like to invite some of their team members to come and greet you and explain what we do.
Thank you, Josiah. Steve Tanzilli, Dean of the Rowland School of Business. Welcome to Point Park University. Welcome to Pittsburgh Playhouse. For those that are not familiar, Point Park, we have about 3,500 students. During the academic year, we have about 1,000 that live right here, Wooded Boulevard, the Outlets. At Point Park, we measure success not just on our students graduating in 4 years, but more importantly, are they getting a job in their chosen field? And we're not just trying to graduate the next great accountant or next tremendous sales professional, but a good young person who understands the importance of community, understands the importance of giving back. And that's why hosting this event tonight was really personal for all of us. So thank you for being here. Welcome again to our great university. And I want to bring up our president, Dr. Christopher Salas.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. Isn't this a beautiful facility? Yes. So built in 2018, and guess who runs this facility? Our students. Our students, our business students, our communication students, our students in the conservatory. Students who are in odd programs, want to be involved, can be involved. So we really appreciate you being here. We have programming all summer long. We have a partnership with Manchester Jazz and the Highmark Theater, what's called Inside Out, where we use the patio. Jazz on Thursday and Friday evenings after work, June and July. So come here, spend some time. We appreciate you being here. All elections are important, but this round of elections is critically important to Point Park. Like Steve said, we have about 5,000 full and part-time students, faculty, and staff in town here on this campus. And we're one of the largest property owners downtown. And so goes the city, so goes the university. And we have big plans, big vision for taking this university to a whole nother level and growing this university. But we have to have a stable, safe downtown. And so that's why this election season is particularly important to us. So again, thank you very much for being here, and enjoy the university.
Thank you so much, guys. So I want to take a moment to formally acknowledge the partners, and then Lisa and I are going to get out of the way and get to the candidates formally addressing you. I'm going to just read out the list of them and just know that it comes with heartfelt gratitude for all of your support. The League of Women Voters of Greater Pittsburgh, BPEP, VEAM, Healthy Start PA, One Hood A+ Schools, Pittsburgh Higher Ground Ministry, YWCA of Greater Pittsburgh, Black Girls Equity Alliance, Western Pennsylvania Black Political Assembly, NAACP Pittsburgh Branch, Pittsburgh Peace is Possible Coalition, National Council of Negro Women, Transformational Justice Coalition, and the Alliance for Police Accountability. Thank you all so much for helping make this event possible and for all of your support. Thank you so much. And finally, the co-sponsors of this event do not support or oppose any candidate or any political party. Rather, we seek the informed and active participation of citizens in government and conduct candidate forums to provide opportunities for voters to hear the views of the candidates directly on issues. And with that, we'll move over here and start introducing the candidates.
So as we get started, I do want to go over our ground rules for tonight. First of all, there will be no campaign literature, signs, clothing, etc. allowed inside the forum room. The audience is asked to remain silent throughout the forum. We ask that you all be mindful that this event is being broadcast and recorded. There will be no substitute or stand-ins for absent candidates. No statements read for them. Timekeepers, we have Rebecca and Megan that are seated right here. And they will be using paddles to alert the moderators and the candidates as to when they have 30 seconds remaining, as well as 15 seconds remaining for their responses, and strict Time limits will be enforced. So at this point, we will hear from our candidates for countywide offices in Allegheny County. Each one will have 3 minutes to speak. We will begin with the Court of Common Pleas. The Court of Common Pleas are organized into 60 judicial districts and are the trial courts of Pennsylvania. Major civil and criminal cases are heard in these courts. We will first begin with Mr. Anthony DeLuca.
Thank you. My name is Anthony DeLuca, and it's an honor to kick off this great event tonight. I want to, first of all, thank Point Park for providing this beautiful facility and all of the long list of great organizations that are hosting this event and have done such a great job of putting it together and communicating with the candidates. So thank you very much. I am a candidate, again, Anthony DeLuca, for the Judge of Court of Common Pleas. And as it was mentioned, the Court of Common Pleas is our trial court here in Allegheny County. That's where facts are decided, where juries are heard, where where family cases go. All of those things that you think of a court doing, generally, that's what these courts do. So I would be honored to serve on that court, and I believe I have the experience to do so. Let's face it, of all our courts, the ones that need the most work are probably our criminal courts. There are a lot of people in those environments, just like in society, that need help. And we've taken steps in that direction, and we need to continue to do that. We have a lot of treatment courts. For instance, I was heavily involved in the implementation and development of the mental health court, and I'm very proud of that history and the work that I did there. And I still do a lot of pro bono work for individuals with mental health struggle in the mental health and in the criminal justice system. So one of the things that this has started is we need to move those courts forward a little bit and make sure that treatment, we're talking about drug court, mental health court, veterans court, all these great courts that we have. But let's give a lot of people an opportunity to go through treatment, get better, and not have a conviction, as most of those courts require now, so that they can move on with their lives and live better lives. So the other thing that I do, and I'm very proud of, is I'm a union labor lawyer. I'm the only one in this race. And not only that, there are 43 judges on the Court of Common Pleas in Allegheny County, and there is not one single, to my understanding, not one single union labor lawyer. That background does not exist on the court. There are a lot of former company lawyers, a lot of former management labor lawyers, but not a union labor lawyer, and I'd be proud to do that. Along those lines, both as we mix the, my work as a criminal defense attorney together with that union labor work, what I would say is I'm very proud to be endorsed by the Allegheny County Labor Council and a lot of the member unions, and this is I'm very proud of. I'm endorsed by many of the building trades, but I'm also endorsed by some of the most progressive unions out there. I'm endorsed by SEIU Healthcare, which is a great organization that has social justice at its heart. And also by SEIU 668. So I'm very proud of those endorsements as well as the other ones I have. And I believe I'm best positioned to serve as a judge on the Court of Common Pleas. Finally, the most intensive process we have is the Allegheny County Bar Association puts us through all kinds of hoops to try to rate us. And I'm proud to say that I've received their highest recommendation of highly recommended to serve as a judge on this court. I would love to have your vote, and I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Patrick Sweeney.
Thank you very much. My name is Patrick Sweeney. I'm a candidate for the Judge of the Court of Common Pleas. A little bit about my background. I'm originally from the north side of the city in Brighton Heights. My parents were both educators. My mother was a teacher in the city schools, and my father was a professor. In fact, he got a job at IUP, so the family moved up to Indiana, Pennsylvania, which is where I went to high school. But I found my way back to Pittsburgh in Allegheny County. I was a student at Pitt as an undergrad and as well as a graduate at Pitt Law School. When I graduated in the mid-90s, it was a pretty tough job market around here. I waited my bar results working for our local congressman, Mike Doyle. When I found out I passed, I decided to head out and make my career as a lawyer. I took a job up in Brookville, PA, which is one county north of Indiana. It's where Punxsutawney Phil lives in Jefferson County. It was a great experience, but not much of a future. I was a third lawyer in what I call a two-lawyer practice. I learned a lot, but I needed to find another situation. I got a job offer to work at the Allegheny County Public Defender's Office. I came down here in September of 1997, and I haven't left. I've been working for the Public Defender's Office for 25 and a half years. The job just clicked with me. Something about being in court every single day, fighting the good fight on behalf of the most marginalized people in our society. That really sat well with me in terms of the mission. It's also a lot of fun, but you know what? It's also pretty frustrating being a public defender sometimes too. You know, it's a great experience. You know, I've tried dozens of jury trials, hundreds of non-jury trials. I've actually practiced in all 4 divisions of the Court of Common Pleas as a public defender. Family division is where the juvenile courts are. My clients not only had juvenile delinquency issues, but also dependency issues. Their parents would have CYF issues. I learned a lot about how that worked. Orphans Court actually takes the appeals of mental health involuntary commitment hearings. Those hearings are conducted at hospitals. The appeals of those hearings I used to argue in Orphans Court. Civil Division used to handle PFA violations and other contempt courts. Of course, most of my experience is in adult criminal court. As I said, it can be pretty frustrating because I've been in front of a lot of good judges over the years. I've been in front of some not so good judges over the years too. I have seen through the eyes of my clients and standing shoulder to shoulder with them the deficiencies in the entire court system. I'm going to take those experiences with me when I become a judge on the Court of Common Pleas. I represent the people most likely to be dismissed, most likely to be ignored, and I am never going to forget those experiences and my clients' experiences if I become a judge. There is one last thing I'd like to mention. We're a unionized workforce in the Public Defender's Office. Not only am I a member of the Steelworkers, I'm a former steward, and I am currently the bargaining unit secretary, which includes our adversaries in the district attorney's office. The people I go up against elected me to fight for them. I think that's a great vote of confidence. They trust my abilities and my temperament, and I ask, given all of that you consider my candidacy for judge of the Court of Common Pleas. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Judge Andy Zeffi. Apologies.
It's okay. You're not the first one to get it wrong. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Andy Zeffi, Judge Andy Zeffi. I'm a judge on the Court of Common Pleas. I'd first like to thank Point Park, the league, and all of our sponsors and the host for tonight's event. I'd also like to, we've been at this quite a long time, and like to thank and compliment my opponents in this race. We have been out there together for a long time, and we've run a race of ideas and been cordial. I consider them both friends and want to compliment them on their efforts. Like I said, my name is Judge Andy Zeffi. I've been a judge on the Court of Common Pleas for about 10 months. I was appointed by Governor Wolf last summer. Prior to that, I served as County Solicitor of Allegheny County for 10 years. So I'm the only candidate in this race that can say they know the job. I have been doing it for 10 months, as I said, almost a year. A job I love to do. One thing that's a little different about me in this race, I serve in the Civil Division. I was the first judge in living memory to be appointed and assigned to the Civil Division in the Court of Common Pleas. Many new judges, for the most part, go to Family Division. We just elected 10 judges not so long ago. They've only been on the bench for a little over a year, most of them in Family, many waiting to get into Criminal Division. I was the only one in 2021 who said they wanted to go to Civil Division, and by a stroke of something, I ended up there when I was appointed last summer. That's crucial in a race where you have one spot. What I'd invite you to do is to think about this. What do our courts need? What do we need in this race? And I'd submit to you it is this. Judge James, Joe James, has been a judge on the Court of Common Pleas for 30-some years. He served as elections judge for most of that time. He's retiring, aging off the bench this summer in about a month or two. He's been the elections judge overseeing elections court, deciding issues like ballot challenges and provisional ballot challenges and polling place challenges. That seat's going to be empty. I am in line because of my work as solicitor to fill that seat. As county solicitor, I implemented our mail-in voting system, defended the numerous lawsuits brought against that, attempts to toss 350,000 mail-in votes. I fought those fights and won those fights. That position, the judge that we pick, you can elect our elections judge, is vital. It will be vital in 2024 and beyond. I'm the only person in this race, perhaps the only person on the court, the most qualified person on the court to fill that role. It is going to be vitally important, and it is an actual need that our court has. I invite you to think about that in this race. Give our courts what they need and what our community needs. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your consideration. And again, thank our host for hosting us this evening. And May 16th, get out there and vote if you haven't already. Get those mail-in ballots in. They're going to count. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to County Controller. The County Controller is the fiscal watchdog and taxpayer advocate for residents of Allegheny County. First, we have Mr. Darwin Lerba.
Hello, everybody. My name is Darwin Lerba. I've been the auditor of O'Hara Township for over 5 years now, and I am running for Allegheny County Controller, which means I get 3 minutes to talk to you about audits and contract enforcement. It may seem dry, but it's actually really important, really critical stuff, and at least to me, because I'm an auditor with a technical background, I have a degree in computer science from Yale University. I think it's really cool and interesting, and it has tremendous impacts on our tax bills and our infrastructure. So I'll start with the auditing side. The county controller is the chief auditor for the county, and one of the audits I did last year examined how the county wasn't reviewing nonprofit parcels. And it found that we weren't sending tax bills to $32 million worth of UPMC's corporate parking lots. And we all know that UPMC and other big corporations don't pay what they owe, and they're going to evade taxes any way that they can. But what we might not know is that it's actually the county's fault, because by law, the county should have been reviewing all of these properties to see what was still eligible or not eligible for a tax exemption. But we weren't doing that review, we weren't auditing that process, and as a result, we were missing out on $760,000 a year in tax revenue for the county, for the school district, and for the city. So that's something I would like to expand in the county controller's office countywide to all of the big corporations and nonprofits to make sure that they're paying what they owe, because when they pay less, we have to pay more. The other side is contract enforcement. The Allegheny County Jail has a per capita death rate that is twice the national average. So we all know that we have a terrible, deadly jail, but it's actually significantly worse than other jails around the country. And based on the work that I've done, right-to-know law requests of contracts and contract compliance information, I believe that's because we aren't enforcing the contracts for healthcare and for food service. We know that if you provide folks healthcare, they're going to have better health outcomes. But because the healthcare service provider, which is Allegheny Health Network, isn't sending the required staff, the nurses, the doctors that they need to send, people aren't getting the care that they need, and as a result, they're dying in our jail, and it's a tremendous loss of life, it's a moral liability, and it's also financial liability, because that opens us up to lawsuits and settlements in the future. The last thing I want to talk about is air quality, because as a teenager, I lost part of my left lung. So poor air quality days impact me, more than they might other folks who have 2 full lungs. And to solve that process, we need to audit the Allegheny Health Department's air quality enforcement program, and I would propose new calculations for how we are approaching these fines and penalties, so that fines aren't just the cost of doing business for polluters. Lastly, I think that it's really important we elect the only candidate who doesn't take any corporate PAC money, because when you're reviewing contracts and when you're looking at tax evasion, there's going to be a tremendous conflict of interest when you've taken money from the same people you're supposed to be auditing. So I'm the only candidate in this race who doesn't take money from county contractors or corporate PACs, and I believe that's really critical to a controller's office that actually holds them accountable. Thank you so much. I'm Darwin Lerba, and I'm running for county controller.
Corey O'Connor wanted to be with us tonight and was unable to. He was kind enough to send a video for us tonight. Cue the video.
Hi everyone, I'm Corey O'Connor, County Controller. Sorry I couldn't be with you this evening, and thank you for putting this event on. My wife just gave birth to our second child, and I'm trying to be as helpful as I possibly can be at home right now. But since I've taken on this role as County Controller, we wanted to change what this office is all about. We wanted to take this office off of Grant Street into your neighborhoods, fighting for issues that affect you in this county each and every day. We've done 4 audits, one on Visit Pittsburgh. Visit Pittsburgh is not being transparent with where they spend our county tax dollars. The other audit is on prevailing wage on job sites. If you get county tax dollars, we need to make sure that you're paying prevailing wage on those sites. The other 2 are on the jail oversight. I have a seat on the jail oversight board. We have done an audit on jail staffing. We know that it's going to come back and it's going to stay low, but we need to find out if people are not holding up to their end of the bargain when it comes to contracts as well as overtime staffing. The other one is with DHS. We found out last year that 12,000 kids were affected by having a parent or guardian spend one night in county jail, and that support systems don't come in for 8 weeks for those kids and families. That has to change. We've already reached out to the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank to try to bridge those gaps. These are just some of the things that we've already seen as we've been county controller. And when you talk about taking on fights as controller, we've done so. When I was on city council, we fought UPMC. We fought their nonprofit status. We've helped to fight to have a fair union elections at UPMC. If you want to fight big corporations, you do it from within with the people. Making them form a union gets us a seat at those tables. But also when you look at the county, this job can be talking about the future of this region. Not just looking back at budgets from year after year, but it's building budgets in the future. So what we've done is we put out an environmental plan, the first county controller to do so. It talks about 3 future audits. One on the Clean Air Fund, which has never been audited. The other is on economic development. If you get county tax dollars for a large development, you need to use sustainability in that project. And the last one is on our own internal fleet. Right now, we only have 15 electrified vehicles in the county. There's over 800 vehicles. That has to change. Our role as county controller is about talking about the future. And the future's now. We are going to elect a new county executive. I'm the one with the experience, the knowledge of this office, and the ability to get things done, as I've proven on city council and in the 9 months I've been county controller. I will hold whoever that next county executive is accountable for the promises that they are making on this campaign, and we have to do so. So I want to thank you for your time. Hopefully next time I can be there in person, but I also want to thank you for your consideration for voting for me on May 16th.
Thank you. And in case you're wondering, that was a 3-minute video. Next, we have County Treasurer. The Allegheny County Treasurer's Office is an independent elected office whose primary mission is to receive, invest, disperse, and safeguard the monies of the county. First, we have Ms. Erica Brusselars.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here today. I really appreciate Point Park and the Roland School of Business for the use of these beautiful facilities, and to all the co-sponsoring organizations and the ongoing work they do to support informed and well-run elections and creating this opportunity for candidates to meet up with voters. My name is Erica Brusselars, and I'm running to be your next Allegheny County Treasurer. My platform is one of transparency, modernization, collaboration, and leadership. And I'm ready to bring that practice into the office. I'm highly qualified with a 15-year career as a pension actuary at a large consulting company and with a math degree from Carnegie Mellon. I have the project management experience to run the 60-person office while improving processes and services. One key responsibility of the treasurer is to serve on our county's retirement board. That's a board that oversees a $1 billion pension fund. I have the expertise to bring much needed focus to our county's severely underfunded plan. As an example of modernization and collaboration, during this campaign, I was asked how the county treasurer can help folks re-entering from the jail. I wondered, maybe something to do with how the commissary accounts are paid out when folks are released from jail. I reached out to a county council member, I reached out to folks who work with re-entering citizens, and to an involved county office to learn what the current process is for how folks are paid back when they exit the jail. And currently it's by a certified check, which sounds like a terrible hassle. When we started the conversation about the possibility of moving to prepaid or credit or debit cards, which could potentially lead to something easier for the recipients and something better for the county's bottom line, I'm starting these conversations and reimagining what the treasurer can do to positively impact the lives of those that live in our county, and I'm not even in office yet. We need a transformational leader in the county treasurer's office, and we need it now. I'm the candidate who understands the roles and responsibilities of the office. I'm the candidate who has plans and visions for what can be done in the office. I am the candidate who comes with a career of uniquely qualifying experience. And I'm the candidate who will bring an independent, active voice to the county treasurer's office. My message is resonating across the county. I have received an overwhelming vote count in the county's democratic endorsement process. Additionally, I'm endorsed by the Young Democrats of Allegheny County, the Stonewall Dems, the Pittsburgh Federation of Teachers, the Sunrise Movement, 314 Action, which highlights exceptional STEM candidates, and very proudly by SEIU 668, the union which represents governmental workers across the Commonwealth, including unionized folks in our county offices. I ask for your support during the campaign. You can find us at ericafortreasurer.com. And again, my name's Erica Hiroki-Brusselars, and I'm running for county treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Anthony Coghill.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for coming out tonight on not such a pretty evening. So I really appreciate you being here. Lisa, Josiah, thank you for being here. Point Park, thank you for this wonderful platform and for all the sponsors. So I want to begin with, I grew up in Pittsburgh, born and raised in Pittsburgh in the Beachview neighborhood. I've never moved. I've lived in Pittsburgh all my life. I come from very humble beginnings. I had two older brothers. We didn't have a family car. We didn't have much to go on. But I will tell you, I had a loving mother who made sure we were always provided for. Through those humble beginnings, I learned a lot of lessons in how really to preserve a dollar. In 1995, I started my own roofing business, Coghill Roofing Company, still in operation today after 28 years. I provided a lot of jobs. I'm probably one of the best known and probably the most reliable roofing contractor in the city of Pittsburgh. I do work for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm their roofing contractor, and the Rooney family counts on me to take care of their roofing. So in 2017, I was so blessed and so honored to be elected to Pittsburgh City Council. I love my job there, okay? And some of you may not know this already, but I already oversee your money, $600 million plus per year budget, and I'm one of 9 people who votes on that budget. So I feel we've been very responsible in my tenure there. I also serve on the Sports and Exhibition Authority Board. The Sports and Exhibition Authority Board is the overseer of the stadiums and the arenas, and I am the elected treasurer. So I'm the only candidate for county treasurer who actually acts and has that position. And it's tens and tens of millions of dollars that come through the Sports and Exhibition Authority. I was proud to be nominated by all 7 members unanimously. I love this city, I really do. And you know, I believe I bring a lot of experience and a lot of professionalism that this county treasurer's office is going to need. I also oversee that every vehicle that's purchased with the city of Pittsburgh with the Equipment Leasing Authority Board that I serve on. And it's my leadership and my experience is why I feel I'm the best candidate. And I'm ready to jump into this seat and run this office smoothly. I will say that I know most of the people in the office, and they're good, professional people. They've been at it a long time, but I will be bringing my new ideas in and, you know, my own style of governance. I humbly ask you for your support. I feel I'm the best qualified and the best equipped to perform as our next county treasurer. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'd appreciate your vote for Anthony Coghill on May 16th. Thank you.
All right, we will now transition to District Attorney. Prosecution of crimes in Pennsylvania is delegated to local government officials. Pennsylvania is comprised of 67 counties. Each county has a district attorney and a court of common pleas. First up, Matt Dugan. Hold on a second, Mr. Dugan.
Yeah, I didn't.
I want to make sure your mic's on. Try again.
Testing. Oh.
All right, we'll start the 3 minutes from the top.
All right. Okay, we'll start over. Thank you to Point Park. Thanks for everyone for coming out here tonight. These municipal elections are really important. These are the decisions that are really going to impact our lives for the next 4 years. So my name is Matt Dugan. I am a candidate for Allegheny County District Attorney. You know, I've been out for the last 6-7 months, and I'm very unapologetic about my calls for reform in the criminal justice system. I've been with the Public Defender's Office for a little over 16 years. I've held almost every position in that office, from little baby lawyer to trial attorney, where I represented clients and tried dozens of jury trials and non-jury trials, and then switched over to management, where I started doing more macro work. For the past 3.5 years, I've served as the Chief Public Defender in Allegheny County. So I have a unique, I think,
I've had a unique opportunity and in unique positions to really get a good insight as to what's wrong with our criminal justice system. You know, we hear a lot and we read a lot about violent crime, and violent crime is up. But the truth is, the vast majority of folks that we see in the criminal justice system every day are low-level, nonviolent offenders. And our system, our current system, does a really, really good job of cycling folks through our criminal justice system without ever thinking, let alone addressing the core issues that really bring them in, not before it's too late. I say there are three main drivers into the criminal justice system: substance abuse, untreated, undiagnosed mental health issues, and poverty. Instability, lack of access to consistent resources, lack of access to properly funded schools, living in food deserts. We need to get upstream on these issues. Yes, we have treatment courts in Allegheny County, and yes, they do a very, very good job of getting resources and getting treatment to folks. The problem is we wait too long. We don't allow entry into these programs until people have gone too far down the road. Too many convictions, 4, 5, 6 convictions. We need to front load. We need to front load services. We need to front load connections such that we get people the first time they walk into the criminal justice system so we can keep them out. We have an opportunity also, because this is violence prevention, and we need to think differently about violent crime. The truth is, violent crime is up, but it was up in 2020, the second half, it was up in 2021, and it was up in 2022. And we know the status quo of arrest, prosecute, punish is not working. We have an opportunity to partner with the next county executive, the mayor of Pittsburgh, our lawmaker friends in Harrisburg, where we can not just respond to crime, but we can get outside of the silo that is the district attorney's office and partner in order to get upstream and not just talk about the prosecution of crime, which we will do competently and aggressively, but the prevention of crime. I don't believe that we must accept that certain neighborhoods should forever be impacted by gun violence, and I think it's the district attorney's legal and moral duty to think about prevention. Thank you, and consider Matt Dugan on May 16th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Zapala.
Thank you. Good evening. Talk about partnerships. First of all, I want to thank you guys for what you're doing, and the opportunity to speak to so many people is always welcome. Frankly, the most productive way I spend most of my time, and this is pretty much on a daily basis, is actually to listen to what you guys have to say, to listen about the issues that are in the criminal justice system. Criminal justice is a partnership. It starts with people that you would never have any idea that they're part of the solution. So for instance, when we had problems downtown, and this is in the time frame of G20, when Bob O'Connor had just become mayor and Luke Ravenstahl had, unfortunately, and Bobby passed away and Luke took over. But we had the G20, that time period. So we were looking for partners because we had problems downtown that needed to be changed, a lot like we have today. And by the way, all the indicators downtown in the city of Pittsburgh, crime is up, yes. Violence is up, yes. The kids are doing much worse in the schools. Yes, that's true. Real estate values in a lot of neighborhoods, there is no real estate value unless the federal government is involved as the bank. These are all indicators that show we're moving in the wrong direction. On the other hand, the Countywide is a very stable environment, and the reason for that is we work with people. So when we did downtown, for instance, one of the first persons I talked to was the president of Point Park College. And we wanted Point Park on board, and we needed a police presence, and we needed to know what he thought and what his staff thought was best to protect the children that come down here. The people that we were asking families from all over the country to bring their kids here and trust us that we were going to protect them. And we did that. And we changed everything. And by the way, Joanna Dovin was with Mayor Ravenstahl's administration. She did a great job. Because you can't just make something safe. You have to explain to people why it is safe. And you have to bring the people back. And that's what she had the ability to do. And this city never looked better to an international audience. And I commend people, and I was just very proud to be part of that whole process. The Office of the District Attorney is a fluid thing. It's every day I work with local, state, and federal government at pretty much every aspect of law enforcement. And we're busy, and they come and they ask us for our input on just about everything. And it's one of the reasons we're usually ahead of the rest of the country, because we're looking at what's going on nationally, and we're seeing bad things happen, or we're seeing issues. Thank you, I got 30 seconds. You know, 3 minutes is hard to condense all the things I'd like to tell you guys about all the changes and how proud we are of that office. The diversionary courts are the first in the country. The state legislature brought in a contractor who looked at us in Allegheny County, as they normally do, and they said, we want you to duplicate these second chance courts. We want you to give people a second chance all across Pennsylvania. This is how they work, this is how they should work, and this is how they should be funded. That's what they thought of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we will move to our county council at-large candidates. Allegheny County Council is the legislative branch of our county government. The council is made up of 15 elected officials, 13 district representatives, and 2 at-large countywide members. Members are elected for staggered 4-year terms. Powers and duties of the council include approving and amending legislation submitted by either the county executive or a council member, annually adopting a balanced county budget, permitting use of county land, levying taxes and fees, and confirming or rejecting appointments for county agencies and authorities. First, we have Ms. Joanna Dovin.
Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? I have to say, my mentor, Chris Brusalis, who now is the president, was my former professor at Carnegie Mellon, so I feel like I'm right at home here. My name is Joanna Dovin. As Steve alluded to, I have a history serving. For 7 years, I worked for Mayors O'Connor and Luke Ravenstahl. But here's why I stayed in Pittsburgh. I grew up poor. I grew up about 3 miles from the U.S. Steel Clairton plant. And when I was 19 years old, my mom was diagnosed with a very rare form of blood cancer that we now know is inextricably linked to air pollution. And so I stayed. And I was gifted an opportunity to serve for the youngest big city mayor as the youngest big city press secretary, and it was really hard. But here's what we did. We formed historic partnerships to make our city shine. The economic summit that we held, the global summit, put our city and our entire region on the world stage. We saw record investments in economic development and job growth, and what that does is it helps to fund the county's health and human services budget to provide more social services for those people who need it. Fast forward, when I left the mayor's office, I went back to school, got my master's degree, and became a small business owner. For 10 years now, I've had a company, okay? I know what it's like to recruit people, especially post-pandemic. And I work with organizations, nonprofits like Highmark Whole Care, private developers like Walnut Capital, who I'm very proud to work with, and other institutions like Carnegie Mellon, and I know how many awesome resources we have in our county, how many smart minds we have. And so post-pandemic, as we face these historic challenges, job loss, population loss, we need leaders now more than ever that are going to know how to create partnerships, that are going to ask the right questions and get to the root of our problems. So I look at mental health right now. Look, I have 3 kids, I'm a single mom. My middle son, right? I can't find him a provider, and I'm privileged. So we have a resource problem. What is the county going to do about that? On county council, I want to get to the root and ask the right questions. We have to start owning these mental health resources because right now, the #1 comorbidity in all zip codes is no longer diabetes, it's mental health. Thank you very much for your time. I ask for your support. Know that I will always be civil, respectful, and I'll get the job done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Bethany Hallam.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bethany Hallam, and I am your county council member at large. I am also the director of operations at a community center and small business resource hub in Wilkinsburg, and fingers crossed, just finished my 2nd year of law school. And so when I ran in 2019, everybody laughed and was like, why would you want to run for county council? What does county council even do anyways? And that was true. They served mainly as a body for giving out congratulatory proclamations and acting as a rubber stamp for the county executive. But I knew I was sick of hearing all the time on the news about what's going on in Harrisburg and Washington, D.C., as opposed to what's happening at our local level, the government that affects us most, the government that is supposed to be the closest to the people. And so I ran and I showed that if we have the right people in office, we can get so much done. So I wear a bunch of different hats in my role as the at-large council member. One of those is having a seat on the Allegheny County Board of Elections. We implemented brand new in-person voting machines and no-excuse mail-in voting for the first time ever. We made creative campaigns and just made sure that the entire elections process was a little more transparent and easier for people to understand. I also serve on the Allegheny County Jail Oversight Board, the first formally incarcerated person to ever serve on that board. And we've gotten so much done raising awareness about a jail that has one of the highest per capita death rates in the nation, and it's in our backyard. We stopped dangerous contractors from bringing deadly weapons inside the jail, and we instituted a first-of-its-kind monthly stipend for incarcerated individuals. Every single person in the jail gets $125 a month so that their loved ones don't have to worry about, am I going to put food on the table at home, or am I going to make sure that my loved one in the jail can talk to me, can have hygiene products, and doesn't have to go to bed hungry at night. And we did that all at no cost to taxpayers. On county council, that body that everybody said couldn't do anything anyways, we have accomplished so much in the last 4 years that I am so proud of. We fought for fair pay for our county union employees, and we won paid sick leave for all workers in Allegheny County. We banned fracking in our county parks, and we added funding for lead remediation in our homes. We increased funding for our housing court help desk so that everybody can find housing when they need it and afford to find a way to stay in their homes. And we made sure that our community colleges were fully funded so that nobody in Allegheny County can go without a good quality, affordable education. And that's just some of what we've got done. Over these next 4 years, we have so many big plans with these coalitions that we've built, not just on county council, but in our community with all of you. Because that's what being a public servant is about, is working for all of you every single day. I might be a little scrappy how I go about it, but I get stuff done. Bethany Hallam, County Council at Large, I hope I've made you proud and can count on your support. Thank you.
And can we thank all of our countywide candidates who have been here this evening? Thank you all. All right, so at this point, we have to transition to our next group of county executive candidates. I know, we know. Thank you. We're gonna bring him up in a moment. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Rock, you can come over by us, man, while we get this transition going. All right, everybody, we're going to transition to the second part of our program tonight, which will be a moderated county executive forum. But while we do that, and while the stage is transitioned, and while something cool called running of the grand or flying of the grand happens, I'm going to share a little bit about the county executive position, and then we're going to introduce Mr. Rocky, who's going to share for 3 minutes like you just saw, and then we're going to have a moderated discussion. On May 19th, 1998, the citizens of Allegheny County voted to enact a home rule charter for the county to take effect in 2000. The new government abolishes a three commissioner system in favor of an elected chief executive, a 15-member county council, and an appointed county manager. The mission of the office of the county executive is to exercise the powers and duties granted under the Allegheny County Home Rule Charter and Allegheny County Administrative Code by providing leadership, strategic direction for all aspects of Allegheny County government. The current county executive is term limited after serving for what will be 12 years.
So as we said, we are at the portion where we are hearing from our county executive candidates. We are pleased that Joe Rocky is joining us tonight. He is an unopposed Republican primary candidate for county executive. As an unopposed candidate, he will not take part in the Democratic Candidates Forum. However, we do invite him to the stage, as he is right now, to give a 3-minute statement. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to Point Park, the League, and all the sponsors for tonight's event. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself. I am Joe Rocky, and I'm running to be your next county executive. I am not a household name, but I am a Pittsburgh story. I grew up on the north side of Pittsburgh in some very challenging times. My father got sick when I was 5 years old, and I know what it means to actually leverage the services of the county. I've used food stamps as a child. I watched my family focus on education, but also live at times without a television in our house, and almost my entire youth without a car. And so I have learned the importance of getting a good education. I ultimately went to Duquesne University, and I came out and became a CPA. From that, my career throughout all of it in Pittsburgh, ultimately landing at PNC, where I spent the last 25 years, culminating as the Chief Risk Officer at PNC, which is an executive level position. I retired in September from PNC, but I didn't retire to stop working. In fact, I've been working for the people of Allegheny County my entire life. Whether it's being the past president of the Ronald McDonald House, on the board of Catholic Charities, on the board of St. Joseph's House of Hospitality, Little Sisters of the Poor, Oakland Catholic, my alma mater, Duquesne University, and I could go on. So when I retired, I didn't retire to quit working. I actually retired to start working on a full-time basis for the people of Allegheny County, and that's why I'm running for county executive. I do believe that we are in a transition point in this county, and we have a unique opportunity in front of us. This is about jobs. The opportunity that is in front of us in Allegheny County is to grow our employment. As you've all heard, we've lost 50,000 jobs in the last 5 years. That's more jobs in every county in Pennsylvania and Ohio. That's an opportunity that needs to be changed. We need to grow employment, which will ultimately result in the growth of population. Through the pandemic, corporate America realized that their supply chains needed to come back home. We need to sell Allegheny County and the strategic advantages that Allegheny County offers, like the natural gas under our feet and the water in our rivers, and capitalize on that. I promise you that in my first year as county executive, I will be in the corporate offices of 100 companies around this country selling the reason why they should have their operation in Allegheny County, and why the people of Allegheny County are who they want for their employees. And the future of our region is about growing jobs, growing population, and I will address those as your next county executive. Go to voterocky.com. Thank you.
So at this time, we will invite the remaining candidates to have a seat here on the stage.
Okay. Good evening, folks. How we doing? Good. Thanks for being here for what, the 200th one of these forums, something like that? Okay. So look, in designing this forum, we wanted to lean into the opportunity for education, to kind of start at a high level, hear your vision, but also talk about some of the structural components of the job. A little bit faster pace than what you're used to, 1 minute per response. We designed the questions that you'll have a chance to share with our audience, both in person and that are with us on the internet, in such a way that you can kind of voice your own your own vision and not worry about the other folks on the table. I do need to point out that we will be accepting audience questions. We have a table in the back. Can you ladies wave? Julie and Ruth, there we are. If you have questions, please give them your questions, and Judy and some of the other league voters will be running them up to us. The League of Women Voters is keeping us out of trouble by vetting the questions before they get to us. So we'll ask some of our presets, and then we'll take audience questions. So please make sure you get them up to the table if you want that to happen. Okay, we'll start at the top here with a question about talent attraction and retention. We see 40,000 graduates from local colleges and universities every year, and roughly 50% of them stay in the region. The Regional Talent Coalition for the Allegheny Conference, businesses, universities, nonprofits, local elected officials are working to keep diverse talent here. How do you see the role of county executive encouraging more young professionals to stay in Allegheny County? We did a random order generator, and Ms. Khaleesi, you're the first person to go.
Can you hear it? Can you hear me?
Let's move it up towards you.
Move it up more. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, is that better?
Okay.
Hold on, is that better, folks? Yeah, I'm seeing thumbs ups and nods.
Okay, so your question is how do we keep the talent in Pittsburgh that's come here to get educated? One of the ways you want to do is to build some bridges with these businesses that we have brought into the city. You've got Google here now. You have as many of the colleges themselves that can employ a lot of these young people themselves. I mean, they're educating them. They might even have positions for them. But they also have to be a little bit of an active part of helping get those positions for those students. It's a little bit of a networking that maybe they can help us present, they can help us build that bridge where we can get more of our people to stay here, but they too can make sure that whatever they're educating them for are what we need.
Thank you, Ms. Khaleesi. Mr. Weinstein.
Yes, thank you.
And our timekeepers, can you guys wave, please? These are the people that you'll need to keep an eye on.
See them. Yeah, thank you. I think this is a terrific. Okay, this is a terrific question, and I've been talking about this since the beginning of the campaign. It seems as though we're exporting our biggest commodity is our children, and I'm very concerned about that, especially being a father of young children. We can educate our kids here, put them through high school, put them through college, the fantastic colleges and universities that we have, being one that we're in this evening, but yet they can't find that job that they need to. And I believe that this is a critical role for the chief executive, the next chief executive of this county, to be the marketing agent and the marketing advocate for Western Pennsylvania. It's about not just about attracting new companies to relocate here and start their operations here, but it's also about expanding the companies that are here and helping those companies continue to grow and offer opportunities. And I'm committed to do that. I'm all in to bring the business community together, the labor community, the nonprofit, and the foundation community to help our region grow. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Parker.
Hello, everyone. My name is William Parker. First, I would like to thank God. I really want to thank God for being able to be up here right now on the stage. You know, as the first and only African American to ever run for this position and have my name officially printed on a ballot, I think that's worth some praise. Secondly, I would like to encourage the audience to want more for others, even if you don't want or need much for yourself. That's what we got to work at. That's how we retain the young people here. We have to want more for them. We have to want to invest in them, invest in their futures, invest in ways that they can create opportunities so they can own homes, so they can start a business, so they can have a great job. Thank you.
Mr. Namorato.
Thank you, and thanks for hosting this evening. So 15 years ago when I graduated from Pitt, I decided to stay because I had a great opportunity at a large tech firm doing a 2-year leadership program. And I was also at a time where Pittsburgh was really vibrant. focusing on affordable housing. And I got to move to a neighborhood called Lawrenceville, which has changed dramatically over the 15 years that I've been there. And I think that as county executive, focusing on quality of life issues that keep young people here, like affordable housing, like a clean and healthy environment, like adequate transit, and safe and healthy neighborhoods. Those are the things that are going to keep people here. And we can also leverage our assets like our green spaces and our arts and culture scene. But ultimately, we need to be a welcoming and diverse region, and we need our policies and programs to reflect those values.
Mr. Lamb.
Thank you very much. And I don't think we should limit ourselves to our local universities and colleges. I mean, the fact of the matter is that young people, when they're in a given place for 4 years, a lot of them are going to want to try something new. Our goal needs to be that we need to be the destination for people from other areas coming to our city, as well as working to retain our local talent. And part of that is in Pittsburgh, it's always been tough, that first job. It's always been a hard reach for this community for whatever reason. And I think it is getting our corporations, our businesses to recognize that they need to build leadership programs in their organizations to attract people. But if we're going to attract people, we have to recognize that we have to have the right cultural and recreational opportunities for young people. And that involves an organization that you guys are very familiar with, PUMP. And the work that they did when we used to have that city that closed down at 5 o'clock at night, really bringing new vibrance to our city. The organizations like that are also need to be supported so we can drive that kind of energy around Pittsburgh.
Mr. Fawcett.
Hi, everyone. So I think we're at a really important point in our history as a city and a county and as a region. Where do we want to be in 10, in 15, and 20 years from now? And what can we do now to get us on the right road there? Do we want to be a thriving innovation hub with plenty of manufacturing jobs? Do we want to be a beacon of sustainability? Or do we want to shrivel in the vine? Well, we need a plan. And we need someone that has experience in taking on big challenges and effecting a plan, which is what I've done in my whole career. From my standpoint, there's really three most important things we can do. Number one is sustainability. Number two is job growth. And number three is crime and criminal justice reform. All big initiatives that will help raise our profile, keep young people here, and put us in a place where we should be and want to be in 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Thank you. Our next question is about downtown and public safety. What does downtown Pittsburgh need for a robust rebound? Recently, we've seen an increase in people experiencing homelessness, severe mental and behavioral health needs, the economic distress, as well as violent incidents. What is your vision for public safety and other improvements for the Golden Triangle? We'll begin with Mr. Weinstein.
Thank you so much. This is a fantastic question. I've been talking about this more than anyone probably in this entire campaign. I am 1,000% committed to changing the culture and the environment downtown. People will not come back to work unless it's safe. We have an obligation to create a public safety plan for the city of Pittsburgh. We need to work with everyone that has a vested interest in this and clean up our streets. It's just about cleaning up the garbage is a first place to start. Cleaning up and having a plan for the homeless, a mental health plan. And we need to have a police presence in downtown Pittsburgh so that people feel safe coming to this. This is the vibrant jewel of Western Pennsylvania, and we will not let the vibrancy of this city suffer. And I'm committed to having using county resources to assist in helping that. Allegheny County has 130 municipalities. The city of Pittsburgh is one of them. It's very important.
Thank you. Mr. Parker.
So when it comes to public safety, I'm on the ground. I'm in the neighborhoods. I'm downtown. I'm all over a lot of communities within Allegheny County, and I see the destruction. You know, I like to tell people the mayor Allegheny put out $1 million in grants to help curb the violence. But what he didn't do was follow up and let people know who he gave that money to. So I took it upon myself to create the Pittsburgh Stop the Violence directory, and I posted that on my page. But when it really comes to public safety, we have to get serious though, because you know, within the whole law and order ecosystem, we gotta ask ourselves, do people really want these problems to get fixed? Or do they wanna create and keep these jobs for police officers, for judges, for lawyers? If we fix everything, that means their jobs are gonna be eliminated. So it's all about balance. And I think that what we need to do is focus on giving people opportunities right now.
Thank you. Representative Inamorado.
My philosophy on public safety is that strong communities keep everyone safe. And that goes for downtown, and that goes for every municipality across this county. Downtown, it needs a twofold approach. We need intervention, which means more eyes on the street. And that's in the form of uniformed officers, but more importantly, the Downtown Ambassadors program that's launching, as well as community workers who can help people get access to resources that they need. We need to keep in mind that we will not police our way out of poverty. We also need a long-term plan. So we are going to have vacant office buildings. That is the nature of work. They are macroeconomic indicators that are happening. So we need to continue to invest in the downtown conversion program. As a URA board member, I voted to put $6 million towards that program. We also need to work with our universities and our school systems to see if we can do youth centers downtown and just reimagine the space for vibrancy.
Thank you. Mr. Lynn.
So we need a holistic approach, right? So we need the added police presence, or we need the co-response from our social service agencies. That's a key role where the county can play a role in mental health and in addiction services downtown. We need a public works response. You know, we need to have a cleaner downtown, and we need to address that as well. We need more public bathrooms downtown. All of these things help lend to a better downtown and a safer downtown. The other thing that really makes downtown safe is having a critical mass of people here. And so we have to address that. And so I think that with this issue we have, obviously we want to make downtown as attractive as possible. We want people to want to come to downtown to go to work, but we also have to make downtown a better place to live. I think we should be lobbying the state for tax credits for conversion to residential, and we need to help universities like this one attract more of their students to live downtown. You want to make downtown more vibrant, put 1,000 more college students in it. You know, so having that presence downtown.
You.
Thank you.
Mr. Fawcett.
Thank you. So this isn't a simple question of what's going on in downtown. And I'm the person here that has the most experience with this and can deal with it, because on one hand, you need accountability and credibility in the system. So in other words, you got to not tolerate bad apples in law enforcement. On the other hand, the situation that we have right now is urgent. It's an emergency and has to be addressed with all full force. And what I mean by that is we need an effective, immediate, dramatic approach. But it's not just law and order. No, it's, for example, embedding mental health workers into the police force, which the police want. So you're dealing with, you have experts dealing in de-escalating situations with people who may be homeless, maybe have mental disorders, or maybe involved in minor crimes and so on. But we need to take control. We can't allow this to continue to spiral out of control, or we lose our beautiful, vibrant city. Sorry, thank you.
Ms. Colesi.
Thank you. This is a very serious problem, and I think we all recognize that the city, for some reason, has gone this bad. And it's happened quite quickly, and I don't know if we want to necessarily blame COVID, but it's a problem that grew very, very quickly. And I think that we need to really sit back and reevaluate the whole thing. Why did it happen? What happened? What is the reason why we have so many homeless people? And it can't just be affordable housing. There's other issues that have to be addressed. But as the city controller right now, Mr. Lamb, you have the opportunity to actually take this time and to overlook the money that is spent at the city level to see what is being used to help these people in the city.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to the next question. Are you guys able to see the time? Is that easy for you? It's hard with the light. It's hard with the light. Rebecca, Megan, if we could, would you mind moving somewhere a little bit easier? It's been a long day, but I think it's getting brighter in here. All right.
That's why I ran over. I couldn't see.
Understood, Mr. Fawcett. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Am I able to respond to that?
Respond to what?
Being called out like I just was.
Oh, I see. No, we're just going to move on to the next question if you don't mind, sir.
Can we just remind the candidates to please keep your comments to the topic and not candidates? Thank you.
Okay. The next question here is about affordable housing. Even though housing in Allegheny County can be relatively affordable compared to other markets, we know that we have inadequate housing in the city and the county, and that COVID-19 has further strained our resources for services. How can the county executive work to solve our housing crisis? We'll start with you, Mr. Parker.
Okay, so first, as I like to phrase it, I call it good housing. That's what I'm in favor of, because all affordable housing isn't good housing, as we know that. And we want to make sure that we're able to promote as well home ownership. You know, as one of my opponents right here next to me, Sarah, she championed the whole homes repair, and which was basically a copy and paste of Senator Saval's Senate bill, which is great, but I just want to address, it's going to be a lot of landlords who go after that funding. And then when the landlords get that funding and they beautify their houses, what's going to happen is they're going to increase the price for renters. And it's going to make it harder for people to obtain housing, and that's what's going to lead to gentrification. So and that's why it's hard to really do another property tax assessment on these houses right now, because we really don't know where we're going to stand within a year from now. But that's what I want to do. I want to promote home ownership. Thank you.
Ms. Innamorato.
Thank you, and thank you, Will, for mentioning the whole home repair bill, which was one of the pieces I passed as a Democrat in the Republican majority last budget cycle. So to start with the housing crisis that exists in the county, we need to create a housing for all plan that will be included in the Allegheny County Comprehensive Plan. We have not done one of those since 2008. As the county executive, there are many interventions we can have that will increase the supply of affordable housing and affordable home ownership. We can mirror what the Urban Redevelopment Authority has done and do a housing opportunity fund at the county level to invest and incentivize development in areas of great need and ones that have been underinvested in. We can create an advisory committee under the Board of Health to inform that we have the most up-to-date health and safety standards for our housing stock, and we can expand the Lawyer of the Day program and ensure that folks who are renters have adequate representation if they're going through eviction.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb.
So we've got blight all over this county and in the city of Pittsburgh, and we've got to find a way to get that blighted property turned around and make available for affordable housing, and not just blighted properties, but corporate-owned properties. My plan for housing addresses both of those issues through creating of a countywide tax claim bureau so that we can flip properties, turn them around quickly, make them available to community organizations, to land banks, to individuals for more affordable housing, and then corporate ownership, working with municipalities who are dealing with on a much better way than some others through our Office of Municipal Partnership, which I plan to create, working with communities to do that. But I am going to quickly address the attack that I was taken at me about the police. I did audit the police bureau last year with the Civilian Police Review Board. We called for the co-response unit to be launched and have continuously criticized the Gainey administration for their failure to launch their co-response unit. And so that's what I've done as city controller on the issue. Thank you.
Mr. Fawcett.
Thank you. So we definitely need much more affordable housing in the county. Two things. Number one, we need to make a better option for people to build on and use existing housing stock, which we have, for example, up and down our rivers and in our old industrial towns in our urban core. And through an investment, big investment, for example, in a countywide riverfront park, we're going to give people the incentive to invest in existing housing stock in these places that really need big investments. Secondly, I want to say this about affordable housing. It's not easy. We got to make it right. I agree with Mr. Parker. You need to promote home ownership. So you can't just have developers with creating some prefab affordable housing unit, and then what happens after 15 years, there's not home ownership and the folks leave.
Thank you.
It's a very important issue.
Thank you. Ms. Khaleesi.
Affordable housing is just a biggie in so many ways. What's affordable housing? If someone doesn't have a job and they're literally homeless, how do you give them affordable living? How? How is that even possible? So there has to be some free living as well. You have to have some sort of building between. We have many options in this whole county. We have UPMC, we have AHN, we have many schools that can all come together. We can bridge them together, and we can ask them to help us through the housing incidents, because these people didn't just become homeless to just become homeless. They either lost a job or something happened. We have to figure out what the problem was to help them move on, and we can do that. I've seen Oakland Citizens has done it. I've seen it happen a lot of times. We can do this. We can do this.
Mr. Weinstein.
Thank you. This is a dual issue that we can address simultaneously to create more of affordable housing opportunities and to address the blight. This is a huge problem in Allegheny County, all over the county. Wilkinsburg, as an example, has 900 blighted properties. And it's too costly, it's too time-consuming to take a property to sheriff's sale to get clear title. So if we could create a tax claim bureau and a countywide land bank, we could expedite that process and make it so much quicker and so much more affordable. And we could take these blighted properties and create opportunity with them for affordable housing. And someone could have actual home ownership in a property that was off the tax rolls. We could put it back on the tax rolls. It makes so much sense for a county initiative, and that needs to be led by the next county executive. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is about affordable child care. In Allegheny County, there are over 14,000 children under the age of 5 who are eligible for the Child Care Work Subsidy Program, and only about 4,500 children are enrolled. That is 68% of children not being served. Child care remains unaffordable for many families. What role do you see the county playing in making child care more accessible and affordable for working families, beginning with Representative Inamorado?
So access to childcare needs to be a conversation that happens throughout departments within the county, especially as we're considering economic development and workforce retraining. We can start by investing in the Office of Children's Initiatives, which is something that was formed a few years ago but remains unfunded to its fullest potential. In order to do things like that and be creative, we can actually put up the $5 million match required to draw down an additional $30 million from the state. We can continue to encourage Department of Human Services to think creatively about how to use the waivers for Medicaid and child welfare and invest in opportunities to get out into the community, enroll families into the different child care opportunities that are available, and focus on building up that workforce to ensure that they paid a living wage as well.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb?
The county has to have a a children first priority, right? We have to put children first. And the Office of Childhood Initiative is something that needs to be fully funded. We know that not only does it help the family, I mean, it helps the development of that child, but to have child care, to have programmatic opportunities at the earliest ages has dramatic effect throughout that child's life. So as county executive, I will have a child first policy. We're going to fund the childhood initiatives, and we're going to give kids a chance. Across this county, we've got a lot of school districts who are already doing some of this work, but it has to be a county-wide kind of opportunity so that every community is served and has appropriate resources to affect our children.
Thank you. Mr. Fawcett?
So I think, like a lot of issues that we're going to be talking about tonight, this is one of a matter of resources. And everyone has a lot of ideas, but where do we have the resources? What can the county executive do to develop them? And here, I think, when you're talking about childhood issues, early childhood initiatives, child care, to me, the natural to look for more resources is to our nonprofit community. They've certainly shown an interest in helping in certain things that make sense for them. And I would be a person that would use my skills to negotiate, to push for an investment by our hospitals and other nonprofits to help fund and facilitate and make available early childhood initiatives and care. And I think it's a natural fit, something that I would definitely do as county executive.
Thank you. Ms. Scalise?
Thank you. And as all of you probably know, because I've mentioned it a million times, I've sat on the City of Pittsburgh School Board. This is exactly what we did. The state actually at one point gave us $3 million. It was to invest it into early childhood, and we did exactly that. We made free preschool for every city resident. No money at all were they to pay for preschool. That was a gift given to us, and then as usual, the state takes their money away, and then it becomes an unfunded mandate. But we continued the program. We continued it. We even mixed it with Head Start. It became one of the greatest things we ever did. It's not that hard to do. It's easy to do. I can do it again.
Thank you. Mr. Weinstein?
Yes, thank you. As a father, this is very important to me. And I believe that we should utilize the opportunities that we have with the Department of Human Services, Children and Youth Services, and the funding that we have available, that we could commit to this. And to specifically answer your question, address your question, it's about marketing and allowing the opportunity for everyone to know exactly what's available for child care, and putting that to work, and having our departments, our internal county departments, for outreach, and be able to market this through the county, in partnership with the 43 school districts in the Allegheny Intermediate Unit, and to make sure that everyone is aware of the opportunity to be able to do this. And that all takes leadership and marketing from the beginning and from the inside. And the Department of Human Services does an adequate job, but we can make sure that they're doing a better job in terms of outreach. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Parker?
What good are resources if no one knows about them? If no one knows about them, we need to make sure that the next county exec is someone who shares these resources with the county, with the community. Just like this event right here was put together by over 15 organizers. And to my knowledge, I'm the only person that even shared information about this event earlier on today. And that's the problem. I don't know what's going on with my opponents, but if they want to sit up here and claim that they want to be informative, that they're going to share these resources, let's start with sharing these debates. Let's start with sharing these forums so people can really see and hear what's being said.
Okay, we're going to ask our first audience question. And thank you for submitting these. You guys are doing great. First audience question. How do you plan to improve the air quality in Allegheny County? Mr. Lamb, we start with you.
So we know this is a problem, right? We know that how many people in this room even have asthma or know someone who has asthma. It's a huge problem for this community, and it disproportionately affects our minority community. 1 in 3 African American kids have asthma, and in Pittsburgh. So we know it's a problem. The answer is, first off, we got to hold corporations accountable, which is what I've done for the last 15 years as city controller. We've got to hold them accountable. We've got to have a system within the health department that is not a pay-to-pollute system, but actually offers remedial measures and enforces those remedial measures against our corporations. We've got to work with our corporations to help them build systems that are cleaner, and we can do that here. We have the Energy Lab out in Broughton that can actually deal with these kind of scrubbers that are necessary and create great jobs to remedy these situations. And what we really need is for the communities most affected to be at the table as we're making decisions about how to remedy, how to repair, and how to move forward. And those communities most affected need to be at the table.
Mr. Fawcett.
So those are all great ideas that I agree with. I want to just say one thing very specifically relative to this issue. So right now we have the health department, which is really doctors and healthcare professionals running basically a law enforcement job. So in other words, the health department is the one that now is in charge not just of monitoring air quality, but enforcing the law and assessing penalties and so on. That's not the way it should be. What I have proposed and talked about for months is creating a Department of Environmental Enforcement that would be separate, that would have lawyers and folks that really specialize in law enforcement to take this off of the health department and put it in the realm where it should be, law enforcement. And in that way, we don't have things like, pay to pollute remedies. We have real enforcement and real remedies by people who know what they're doing.
Ms. Khaleesi.
Air quality has been an issue in Pittsburgh for as long as I've lived here, and I've been here all my life. I mean, I've had the steel mills down in Hazelwood. I live in Greenfield. I smelled that all my life. So, I mean, it's been part of my life. And is it a bad thing? Absolutely. Most of us have lung problems now because of it. So, but what really has to happen is that, these companies have rules that they have to follow. And nobody stays on top of them to make sure they do it. And even when they do it and we fine them, money to them is nothing. We've got to do more than just a financial way of finding them. We have to find what the causes are and ask them to address them. Basically force them to address them. But remember, those are jobs as well.
Mr. Weinstein.
Allegheny County has the worst pollution of all 67 counties in Pennsylvania. Another fact that we should not be very proud of. Anyone sitting here as elected officials or running for office to have the worst air pollution of any county in Pennsylvania. We need to strengthen our health department. I would like to expand the health department and bring more people involved from the community, from business, from labor, from the entire operation. There's nothing more important about air quality. And I'm also concerned about air quality not just outside, but inside of our buildings. We have a lot of aging infrastructure in Allegheny County, and we should make sure that our children in school are breathing clean quality air as well, and any other type of facility that houses young people and older people. Everyone should breathe clean air, and the county has a responsibility to ensure that that happens for all of our residents.
Mr. Parker.
A lot of people have ideas. I have ideas, but I want to bring us all to the table and bring all of our solutions to the table. And that's why I want to tell you all about Innovation Works. Innovation Works is a government investment incubator. It's basically based on the north side. They get money from the government. They're supposed to invest in our ideas. What I would like us to do is take our ideas over there to them for electric vehicles. Electric scooters. They just said that they were about to end the pilot with the electric scooter. Why can't we create electric scooters here and have them ran all throughout the county? Why can't we create the first black car here, electric black car here? As Corey O'Connor mentioned, there's only like 15 cars on the fleet in the county, and that has to change. So let's start with bringing our ideas to places where they can get funded, and then we can help solve our issues with the air quality. Thank you.
Representative Inamorado.
So our air quality, or poor air quality, is due in large part because of our industrial polluters. It is also a public health, environmental, and economic liability for us all. So we do need to fund the health department, especially the department that enforces air quality standards. We also need to look at who's on the Board of Health, which makes the decisions on how we regulate those industrial polluters. The Board of Health needs to be comprised of folks who are familiar with epidemiology, public health, climate change, and most importantly, impacted community members. Because it just isn't about air quality, it's also about caring for environmental justice communities and frontline communities. We have the Clean Air Fund, which contains millions of dollars that can be invested back into these frontline communities that have been harmed by industrial polluters for generations, to deploy public health programs, invest in air filters for their homes, and try to right some of the wrongs of the past.
Thank you. Our next audience question. What is your position on paying county employees a livable wage? Beginning with Mr. Fawcett.
Sorry, the question again?
The question is, what is your position on paying county employees a livable wage?
For it, 100%.
That's it? Okay.
Is that okay? That I don't
That's
take my
fine.
full minute?
That's extra time for us.
Give me 15 seconds. Honestly,
Okay.
all throughout the county, and when I was on the county council, we know that the people that do most of the most important work in this world, you know, the mental health workers, the social workers for the county and so on, are underpaid and overworked, and it's a crime. It definitely has to change. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
Thank you. Ms. Khaleesi.
Thank you. I believe in living wages for everybody, but what's living wages? It all depends on what your lifestyle is, and it all depends on what you have to live with. So what's living wages? I mean, I think that word, those words themselves need to be defined, because $20 an hour today isn't all that much money. It really isn't. Unless it comes with a bunch of benefits, it's not. So what's living wages? And yes, I'm for living wages, of course. I want everybody to be able to survive. I want everybody to be able to live. I want everybody to be able to go to the store and buy what they want. If they can afford it, buy it. I'm for living wages.
Thank you. Mr. Weinstein.
Yes, actually, being at the county and having an office in the county, I was the first independently elected row office to raise the living wage for my employees. And I'm a big proponent of that. The county has excellent benefits as well, medical benefits and a pension plan. So when you combine all of that together, it creates an excellent opportunity for a great place to work. We have 7,500 employees in Allegheny County, and we're always getting applications for people looking for jobs. And the attractiveness is the salary, even for lower paying jobs. It's something I very much so believe in.
Thank you. Mr. Parker?
Yes, I believe in increasing the pay of our county workers so they can come to work energized and ready to perform at their best. But right now where we're at on the state level, you know, the minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour. And that just goes to show, when we have all these champions talking about they support workers and workers' rights, why is the minimum wage still $7.25? That makes no sense. And another thing that makes no sense is that why we keep accepting this. Especially, see, they know that we catch on slow here. They know that they could give us whatever they want and we'll just accept it. And that's why it takes a strong leader to increase the pay and let the workers know that they deserve it because they're worth it, and we can get to work to help other people in need.
Thank you. Representative Inamorado.
So public sector jobs have often been a springboard to the middle class, and they can be again if we do invest in the people who make the county run. But it's not just about providing a living wage. It's also a workplace culture where people feel valued, where they feel like they have the opportunity to advance. And that way we can compete with the private sector when it comes to attracting and retaining talent. So we need to be intentional about how we're recruiting our county workforce. We need to look at what the job requirements are, see if we can remove any barriers that exist, and go out into the community and find the best talent so that we can move them into the open positions that exist.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb.
Yeah, I certainly support the living wage for all employees. And back a few years back when we had the fight for 15, we made sure all wages in the city, in my office, were at or above that, including our seasonal employees. And since that number has increased. In the city of Pittsburgh, we do have a service employee prevailing wage, and so we try to mirror that at a minimum for our employees. But across the county, we've got real issues around wages for a lot of particular jobs, caseworkers, it's down at the DHS, our 911 operators. We really need to improve wages across the board and in a lot of those areas, and I'm committed to do that.
Thank you very much. Third audience question. This is regarding the Schumann Detention Center. The Schumann Detention Center for juveniles is closed. Would you want to restore the detention center or establish something else for youthful offenders? Ms. Khaleesi.
Schumann Center it just needs to get started over. It is one of those places that needed to be shut down, closed up, and reopened. And with the people that I have worked with on the school district, I could bring those people together so fast. They're the ones that know how to do this. These are the people, along with our social workers, and that's when we would also tap into UPMC and AHN. That's what they have. And we need to understand that social workers are not paid very well. So that's one of the reasons why Schumann Center didn't do as well as it did either. Those people were not paid very well. But it needed to be cleaned up. It needed to be overhauled. We've known this for years. I don't know what's taken so long for it to close. But to put those students, those children, in Allegheny County Jail, no. I want another alternative, and I will work very, very hard for that. That is a priority to me. These are children. These are our future. We either step up now or we walk away.
Thank you. Mr. Weinstein.
Yes, I've been talking about Schumann for quite some time. This is very important. So everyone's clear, Schumann Center was closed because of multiple violations over and over and over again that were never corrected. So the state revoked the license. That's poor leadership. It's poor leadership all the way up to the county executive, because that's the responsibility of the executive. We need a juvenile facility in Allegheny County. We have 1.3 million people. Right now, there's nowhere to take juvenile offenders. I want to reimagine Schumann Center, call it something completely different, and have an opportunity to rehabilitate children that need help. And there's a major difference between non-offensive violations or offending violations. And we need to work together with them and use diversionary programs as much as we can. It could just be a truancy issue. But the county has the opportunity to lead in this issue, and we need to do that immediately.
Mr. Parker.
I'm one of the only candidates up here who's totally against reopening Schumann. So that should be a vote for me, if that's what matters to you. That's why I'm in this race right here, because I want to make sure people who look like myself aren't being targeted, especially when we're not given the opportunities as everyone else. We need to be focused on creating and opening up state-of-the-art recreation facilities for our children. You know, Schumann could be reimagined for those who are unhoused, for the homeless. That's what we can do with that space. We already have a place and a holding space for the most violent juveniles. That's at the Allegheny County Jail. We don't need anybody, these private organizations, targeting our black and brown children just to fill up this detention facility for a profit.
Ms. Namorato.
So instead of talking about a detention center, we should talk about what do our young people need to be safe, healthy, and successful. And we have failed many children, especially in the black community, where we've divested and underinvested in their infrastructure, in mental health care and mental health supports, in recreational facilities, in other opportunities. So as county executive, I want to center youth and figure out how are we investing in programs that young people can access without having to go through the juvenile justice system, because there are programs that exist for kids who are caught up in that system, but they can't access unless they've gone through that system. So, we need to make sure that we are investing in that end. But the truth is that presently we have kids who are at the Allegheny County Jail, and that's unacceptable. So we do need a facility that youth can be separate from that population, and that it's run with trauma-informed individuals and highly specialized.
Mr. Lamb.
To me, the mistake was not closing Schumann. The mistake was closing Schumann without a plan, and that's where the failure is. I believe we need a juvenile detention center. I think we do have to rethink the way that it will work, but I will tell you this. I will not support a juvenile detention center that is privately run. I will not support a juvenile detention that is a public-private partnership. To me, private means profit, and we're not going to profit off the misfortune of children in Allegheny County. I believe that we should have a county-run facility. I think we should partner and contract with our neighboring communities to share the cost of that facility, but that it should be county-run. And reimagine in a way that we can work with organizations like the Master Builders Association, like the Allegheny Intermediate Unit, and others who really are already working in the area of at-risk youth, and also have it run by an oversight board that includes those around the issues of juvenile detention.
Mr. Fawcett.
Again, I'm the person on the stage that has real experience with this issue, real world experience. So I've been in jails many times representing clients. I've brought a lawsuit against the jail for its abusive treatment of pregnant inmates and for poor conditions and so on. And look, when you go in the jail and you understand it, you understand that really we're full of people that have mental disorders and addiction. It was the same with Schumann. So you have to have credibility, accountability, and proper resources to deal with all of that. On the other hand, you have to recognize that safety is the #1 priority of government. That is preserving people's safety. And when there's violent crimes committed by kids with guns, there has to be a detention center. And it can't be just a playground. And you can't immediately enter into rehabilitation. This is a complicated issue. So you need both things. You need, again, sensitive treatment, but you also need to distinguish between nonviolent offenders and violent offenders. Very important.
Thank you. Our next question is about food security. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, 10.2% of American households are food insecure. However, Allegheny County's numbers are higher than the national average at 12%. And when it comes to children, the Allegheny County child food insecurity rate is 16.5%, which is 4% higher than the national average. What would you do to address food insecurity if elected? Beginning with Mr. Fawcett. Mr. Fawcett. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
We threw a little.
You took me by surprise. But
Yeah.
I listened to your.
Yeah, we're proud of that too. Thank you,
Listen,
Mr. Fawcett.
it's not just food security. In this area, that's a high percentage. It's really a high concentration among African American communities, and the reason for that is because how do we get there? Here historically, we're one of the most segregated cities. Like cities across the country. We had mass incarceration. We had the inability of African Americans to move to the suburbs. They raising their children in areas that haven't been invested in. And that's really the part of it. So what's the point of all that? Well, a lot of that was government caused, and government has to provide the solution. So here, there's no issue that wouldn't be more important to me than this one. Approaching it using the bully pulpit as a county executive and making sure that we're applying resources and putting them into our disinvested communities to deal with this.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb.
our Department of Human Services has to address this issue, right? Because, and it's not just food insecurity, because if you have food insecurity, you likely have housing insecurity as well, and all these issues. And what we know is that these issues create real trauma, real childhood trauma. So we need to address it in a way that makes sense in these communities. And there is, we've heard it described as food apartheid, So addressing this issue in an equitable way. I think part of it is getting nutritious food, better nutritious food places, using our farmers markets, allowing SNAP benefits, and even double SNAP benefits at some of our farmers markets, encouraging more urban farming and the work around that. I volunteer up at the Hilltop Farm. And making sure that we have that availability in every community for nutritious food.
Thank you. Representative Innamorato.
A United Way report said that 39% of households in Allegheny County were living paycheck to paycheck. So food insecurity, it is a symptom of economic precarity. So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's going to be multi-tiered in our approach. But the main thing I want to do as county executive is establish a food justice fund. And that'll fund community-based initiatives like urban farming and urban gardens, our healthy corner store program so that fresh produce is available at areas like convenience stores and things like that. And also look at funding food cooperatives that are owned by the community and by the membership there. But it's also about how do we move people to places so that they can purchase food. So also as county executive, I want to mandate that we institute our free fare program permanently.
Thank you. Mr. Parker?
So I'm a businessman. My background is in food delivery. I created an app. It's called VinSpin. And that's basically where we place commonly requested convenient items on cargo vans ready to be delivered to your door at the tap of an app. And I tried to get out here. Before I even created this app, I've been delivering in neighborhoods all over Pittsburgh for over a decade. Food access, healthy food access is important for our children so they can wake up and have a productive day, and for the parents so they can have a productive day. I took this idea also over to Innovation Works. I didn't get funding. This is why I want y'all to go over there. We have to approach Innovation Works with all of our ideas. I'm actually even going to go take it further right now because, Innovation Works need to do a better job when investing in our ideas, and I'm going to call for a state, a federal, and a city investigation in the Innovation Works nonprofit status. And I'm going to stay on their heels until they do a better job with helping us solve some of the issues that we can solve in our communities, especially when it comes to food access.
Thank you. Mr. Weinstein.
I want to create a hunger-free Allegheny County, especially for our children. I think it's an objective that the next county executive should implement and do everything that we possibly can through the Department of Human Services, Children and Youth Services, working with our school districts, working with everyone that we can to create a hunger-free Allegheny County. I mean, even reach so far as the Clean and Green program, where you get a tax benefit for having 10 acres or more of farmland. We could cut that down to 5 acres and give a tax benefit if you have a smaller farm, and incentivize people to grow more food if that works, and utilize all the opportunities that we have at our fingertips and within the county operation, and have true leadership from the county executive to have a hunger-free Allegheny County.
Thank you. Ms. Scalise?
Well, you all know I'm full-blooded Italian, so before you get out of the car in front of my house, I've got you fed. I believe in feeding everybody. This is something that means a lot to me because we made sure that we began to feed children at breakfast at school. A child can't work at school, can't learn if they don't have food. So we made sure that we had a good nutrition breakfast for our children, the same for lunch. And all of those children that would go to after-school programs, we had something for them there too. There's money for food. I don't care what anybody says. You go to the city controller to find food for the city. You go to the county controller to find food for the county. We can feed. There's no excuse why there is no money for food. There's no excuse. There should be always money for food. Always.
Thank you. We're going to take a quick pause to deliver some water to the candidates. Thank you, Marin. Appreciate that. They have been talking a long time. And we are in the final hour, so it's good to get some refreshment. We'll take a quick pause here. Mr. Parker, you're okay? Okay. Thank you, Marin. I'll take one, yeah, come on up. Not gonna say no. Thank you. All right, we are in the final stretch here, my friends. I have a question for you about jobs and economic development. If elected, what opportunities would you maximize when it comes to economic development and job creation in Allegheny County? Mr. Lamb.
So I think about this a lot differently than others. I don't think economic development is about subsidizing land speculators. I don't think it's about incentivizing companies from outside our region to come here. It's about investing in us, investing in our communities, investing in communities in a way to create the kind of communities where people want to live, where people want to work. But mainly it's about investing in our people. That's why I've created the Allegheny Achievers Program. We're going to make community college free for every high school graduate in Allegheny County. And that does a couple of things. First off, we know right now, while we hear a lot about the job loss, we've got 40,000 job vacancies here in Allegheny County, and 60% of them require some form of certificate and not a four-year degree. We also know that we have a massive student debt crisis across this country, and we can help kids get 60 credits for free. That's something that I think we can do. And we know that community college has always been a great feeder for our public safety services, for our trades, and for our apprenticeship programs. This is a win-win-win for Allegheny County, and that's, at the end, what I want. I want Allegheny County to win.
Representative Inamorado.
So we have an unprecedented amount of money available to us from the federal government, and yet we've seen Ohio, New York, West Virginia get grants to build up the new green economy. So as county executive, immediately create a sustainable jobs task force to bring together our businesses, our universities, and impacted members of the environmental justice community to create a plan to draw down some of those federal dollars so that we can build the economy of the future. We also can invest using the Allegheny County economic development in our main streets. I mentioned that I live in Lawrenceville, which is such a vibrant place, but that didn't happen overnight. It happened because of intentional investment. And we have so many opportunities of main streets throughout this region that we can invest in entrepreneurs and startup businesses to fill those once vacant and blighted storefronts.
Mr. Parker.
Okay, so in this county, especially in the political field, it seems like there's a problem, there's beef with workers and business owners. Jobs don't create themselves, okay? Business owners create jobs. And we need to increase our business ownership here and increase our entrepreneurship. You know, I'm not against unions. I'm not a union buster. But I believe that we shouldn't have to keep continuing to pay or these dues associated with unions. So I want to eliminate the dues associated with unions because I believe that it should be free to unionize. It should be free to unionize.
Mr. Weinstein.
Government doesn't create jobs. Government makes it conducive for companies to come here to create jobs. And I think we have to realize that and keep that in mind at all times. And we should not be just subsidizing opportunities. Look, when Murphy was the mayor here in Pittsburgh, we had Lazarus and Lord and Taylor. They spent millions of dollars to bring those department stores to downtown. They're all gone. That's not what works. Clearly, that's not what works. You need true leadership to bring people to the table, to bring the business community together, the labor community together, the nonprofit, the foundation community, to grow the region. And we have to address all the problems that we have to market this region. No one's going to move to a city that's unsafe. No one's going to move to a city that has the worst pollution of any county in Allegheny, in Pennsylvania. We have to address these issues in order to market our region and to create opportunity for companies to come here and create jobs.
Ms. Khaleesi.
Thank you. As you know, when I was on the school board, I was very, very, very much the person that crossed the line for the Pittsburgh Promise. That's already giving you the ability for these children to have an opportunity to go on to school anywhere in the state, and not just colleges, but also going to trade schools. That's the way you grow the population that could then service whatever businesses you can bring in. If we have a lot of mechanics, then you might have more car dealers. I'm just trying to give you an example. If you educate, then you can also bring in some growth. But the Pittsburgh Promise was set up to do that. It was actually one of the reasons we brought the Pittsburgh Promise in. It was to bring people and businesses back into the city. And it was working. It was truly working. So the ideas are here, and the businesses are here too. We have to create the bridges. We have to create the community senses.
Thank you. Mr. Fawcett.
Okay, but what specifically can the county executive do to increase jobs here? Two specific things. Number one, the county executive can be a big advocate for the use and manufacture of alternative energy, solar and wind, and yes, green and blue hydrogen hubs. That's the county executive's job. Secondly, the county executive should have a plan to keep jobs here, manufacturing jobs that are being created by the innovations out of CMU and Pitt and the Robotics Institute. It's estimated that the manufacturing jobs out of that industry will be 10 times what the jobs were in Detroit when the automobile industry was kicking. Now, how do you bring them here? You need a plan. We're losing those jobs right now to Columbus, Ohio, and Rochester, New York, and Baltimore because they had plans, and they're investing in pad-ready sites and planning to bring these companies in, and we're losing the companies. We're innovating here, but losing the jobs, and we can't afford to lose that fight. Those are things that the county executive can address.
Thank you. Our next question is from the audience. The job of county executive is managerial and administrative. What in your background prepares you to run a county with a budget of $3 billion per year, beginning with Representative Innamorato?
So 15 years ago, I graduated with a degree in business from Pitt, and my first job was at a large tech company doing a leadership program. And the thing that is still ingrained in me is that part of that program was doing every single job of the person that I was managing, and that empathy and understanding where people come from. And that has been something I've taken with me through my nonprofit career and starting my own business before serving as a state representative. I'm responsible for passing the state budget, which is an extremely important thing, and make sure that we can draw down those dollars for local and municipal governments. I have built the coalitions necessary as a state representative to pass legislation, even with a Republican majority. I have advocated successfully to bring millions and millions of dollars for development, libraries, and fixing our roads and bridges, and I'm going to continue that relationship building as county executive.
Thank you. Mr. Parker?
So as a business owner for over a decade, I've had to hire people. I had to assess them, I had to motivate them, and everything involved with running a business. But what I really think that best positions me for this position is that I believe in integrity. I'm a man of integrity, and I lead with respect. I believe that we have to respect our employees. We have to respect everyone in this whole county. And I think that that's what's happening here. A lot of people are being looked over. A lot of people aren't being heard. So that's what I want to do first. I want to make sure that we're all being brought to the table, and I'm listening to everyone, and everyone's voice is being heard. Thank you.
Mr. Weinstein.
This question is about county government, and I am the only person sitting up here that actually is still working in county government. And I've been in the county for 30 years. I've been the treasurer, elected treasurer, for 25 years. I have an intimate knowledge of the internal operation of county government, from all of our departments, all of the services that we provide, the entire operating budget, the Health and Human Service budget, and the capital budget, which is $3 billion. I don't need to be trained on any aspect of the operation of county government. And our 7,500 employees and exactly what departments they work in and what their functions are, all of the department directors, the responsibilities that we have in managing this operation and working with our 130 municipal partners. And I'm ready to go on day one as I have that ability to be able to sit there and operate this county.
Ms. Golese.
Thank you. I've been a business owner for 30 years. I've operated and ran my own business. I've been a board member for 12 years. I was elected 3 times. I have settled 19 union contracts. I've had the power to levy taxes. I've overseen a budget that's larger than the city of Pittsburgh's budget. I've brought children into our school system that never would have come into our school system because we have actually changed it. We have made it a bigger and better place. We have brought the Pittsburgh Promise. We have given preschool. We took, when I walked in there, we had from kindergarten to 12th grade education, and kindergarten wasn't even all that. By the time I left, preschool and college is offered, or any kind of career technical education is now offered. So I have a lot to give too. I have a great deal of experience levying taxes, getting money, even from the nonprofits.
Thank you. Mr. Fawcett?
So with due respect to our county treasurer, his main job has been to run an office that really hasn't changed at all in probably 25 or 50 years and has still run the same way it always has. And you know, that's different than running a multi-billion-dollar operation. I've worked running teams of lawyers, taking on enormous cases. That requires management and efficiencies and under stress and pressure. And I've been in 2 law firms, including one now that's a global law firm. So you're working constantly to understand how the money flows and works and efficiencies and managing people, hundreds and hundreds of people, and in our case, hundreds of millions of dollars in cities across the world. It's a big responsibility and one where you have to act promptly and quickly to the issues of the day, and there always are issues of the day. So I think that's real management and something that I would bring to this job.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb?
When I got out of Penn State, I chose a career in public service, and I'm proud of that decision. I find it to be a noble calling, and I went back to school at night and earned my master's degree at Carnegie Mellon. I earned my law degree at Duquesne, and I started to work around government every day, trying to make government work better for the people that it serves. I saw the broken systems. I saw the injustice. I saw the corruption, and I focused a lot of my attention then on bringing that to light. That's why I focus so much of my career on the issue of transparency. You know, to me, if you're going to fight injustice, you've got to show it. People need to see it so that you can address it. And through that, I've implemented change, whether it was in county or in the city. I'm the one person up here who has actually shown the perseverance and persistence to take something from press conference to practice. I've done it throughout my career, and now I'm ready to do it for Allegheny County.
All right. Final 4 questions here. This question is about gun violence. What role should the county executive play when it comes to addressing growing gun violence? Ms. Khaleesi.
I'm not even going to pretend that I don't have the answer to that question. I really don't. I mean, I'm not a police officer to know how you would handle this. I do know people that I would bring to the table to try to resolve these issues. This is not something that I have the expertise to do, and I would not stand here and lie to anybody and say I do. Do I know we have a problem? Absolutely. But am I the person to solve it? No. As the Allegheny County executive, I would have the honor and the privilege of bringing the right people together to solve this issue. None of us up here know what exactly to do about guns. We have to figure it out together. That's a problem for all of us. every single one of us in this room and outside of this room.
Real quick, in the interest of time, we skipped ahead 2 questions so we can get these final ones in. So the order may seem like it's off a little bit, but it's going to keep staying random, all right? Next is Mr. Fawcett.
Okay, I agree with Ms. Galazi. This is really a complicated issue, and if anyone here on this stage tells you they have the solution to it, they don't. But, you know, I do think that there are cities in the country that have had reductions in gun violence, and there's people who have written books and studied this issue and had good effect. And so you want to bring in people like that. And one of the ideas, of course, is concentrating your police and law enforcement efforts on what they call hotspots, areas where there's more gun violence than others. And, you know, that's one of many ideas. But, God, you really got to go to experts here and realize that this is an enormously important, enormously difficult problem. And I don't think any of us do have the solutions, but you got to bring in people that will help, and hopefully we make some progress.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb.
Well, we do know there are examples that work, and that's what we have to focus on. Within the first 100 days that I'm in office, we're going to have a criminal justice summit where we bring together everyone involved, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's victims, whether it's former offenders, advocates around criminal justice, lawyers, public defenders, DAs, others who work on this issue every day. We're going to model this after what's been done in Omaha, Nebraska, where the Omaha 360, where they've had periodic, continued conversations of these meetings that have led to real results. They've seen reduction in gun violence. They've seen reduction in police use of force. You know, these conversations, you know, bringing people together to really find best solutions is what's going to work for us, because we know it's worked in other places. That's what I'm committed to do. And again, it's not just that one time. It's got to be an ongoing commitment to long-term reduction in gun violence, long-term reduction in use of force.
Thank you. Ms. Innamorato.
So again, gun violence is a symptom of other issues that are going on and chronic disinvestment in certain communities that we have. The county has an Office of Violence Interruption, and we are making investments through the Department of Human Services in community-based initiatives. So as county executive, I will continue to invest in community-based solutions that we know work, and partner with those community-based organizations and ensure that we're collecting the data so that we can make smart and sound investments in those interventions. I'd also want to think outside of the box and maybe support a gun buyback program, something that we could actually do at the county level. But I think most importantly, being a state representative at the present moment, I will leverage my relationship with our leaders at the state to pass comprehensive evidence-based gun regulation policies so that we can make our whole Commonwealth safer.
Mr. Parker.
I just want to say, I don't think that anybody black who lives in this county is manufacturing guns. So it's not coming from us. Yes, but they're getting in our community, and one of the ways that I would offer to combat gun violence is increasing our value through entrepreneurship. That's the problem. I think a lot of people are stressed out. A lot of people are allowing little things to tick them off because, one, they don't have no money. They don't have no money. Let's get to the root. And people are just creating situations for themselves. We need to increase our businesses. That's another way that we increase our economy. That's another way that we get people to come want to live in this state. But we have to do this. We really have to focus on increasing our black business community here in Allegheny County. No ifs, ands, and buts. If we want to be serious, we need someone with a vision who's going to take that step to increase our value through business ownership.
Mr. Weinstein.
I would definitely create a countywide gun buyback program. In fact, I've had multiple discussions already with Sheriff Kevin Krause, who's a big supporter of mine, and we've discussed this issue at length. Utilizing the sheriff's office and the county police, we would do a countywide gun buyback program where we could get the guns off of the streets as best as we can. Right now, you can buy an illegal gun on the streets for about $100. So all in all, we have to do everything we can to get these guns off the street and utilize the resources that we have. And I would be happy to work with anyone in the community that's interested in helping us do this, and the experts in the field as well.
Thank you. The next question is on regionalization. There are 130 municipalities in Allegheny County, over 100 police departments, and many versions of local government. If elected, would you support combining resources to increase efficiencies and save money through regionalization? Why or why not? Beginning with Mr. Fawcett.
Yes, of course, but you know, when I was on the county council, we worked with the row offices and with the city to see if we could combine certain services. So, for example, IT, and what could be the you know, sharing of services, that everyone having their different services, and I am a big proponent and would be of sharing services throughout the county. So that's fire. And that's police and so on. It's hugely needed. I would not be a proponent or a push for elimination of municipalities unless that was agreed upon. I don't think that's the solution, but it starts with sharing services. And that's really what the county executive can do, have a plan for that, and it makes complete sense.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb.
What I've talked about is creating an Office of Municipal Partnership, where we're working every day with municipalities to help them deliver better services to all of our citizens. And you know, I helped create an organization called Connect, which is the city and all the communities that border the city. And the goal of Connect was always to let's recognize our autonomy, but let's make our boundaries less relevant when it comes to delivering services. And that's really how we have to think about it across Allegheny County. Whether we're talking mutual aid, combined services, or other consolidation, it's got to come from the community when they recognize the opportunity. We have 2 communities right now in the Allegheny Valley that are talking about merging their police department. The county should be involved in that conversation, helping to facilitate that conversation, and think about the issues that we have around that. But think about the issues we have around fire. You know, we don't even have mutual aid among some of our communities out there. We had a fatality in Churchill about 6 weeks ago, where we had firemen from the city of Pittsburgh 5 minutes away. My time's stopped, sorry.
Thank you. Representative Innamorato.
So I represent municipalities right now as a state representative, and my municipalities of Millville, Etna, and Sharpsburg, they actually have done cross-municipal zoning and have formed a tri-borough eco-district that has allowed them to leverage resources and bring more money back to all of their communities. So I think that's a story that can be shared, and the county exec's office can be a platform for sharing these success stories, because there's not only that one, but we've had a number of our police departments work together to deploy a law enforcement assisted diversion program. We have 2 fire departments that have recently merged. So the appetite is there. The county exec's office can offer carrots that incentivize cross-municipal collaboration. And I believe at the county level, we need to say, is there a service that we can take off the hands of municipal leaders so that we can show that we can have a successful pilot, build trust, and deploy services across the county?
Thank you. Mr. Parker?
First, I would like to sit down with members of the community from each municipality and see what they would like to do. I do believe that we can have some comprehensive policies and procedures that align with one another, but I believe that they know what works best for their communities, and I would like to hear what they have to say before moving forward. Thank you.
Mr. Weinstein.
Being the treasurer for 25 years, I've had the opportunity to meet so many municipal elected officials across this county, and from every municipality, whether it's a tax collector, the mayor, council person, commissioner, supervisor, whatever it may be. And I would love to empower our COGs, which are our councils of government. There are 7 of them through Allegheny County. and we could utilize the COGS as the conduit with the county, working in the county executive, to combine services, public works services, as an example, snow removal, multiple services like that, tax collection services. There's so many opportunities where we could utilize efficiencies of scale and combine things without taking the autonomy of those municipalities away. Because there are individual municipalities, and they have the right under law to exist. But we could certainly help them by true leadership in services and combining those services to save money.
Ms. Khaleesi.
Thank you. Those municipalities are their own individual government entities. So you don't want to force yourself on any other government entity. What you would want to do is bring them all together and find out what their needs are, because every borough, every municipality has a different issue. And bringing a county together, I mean, we are one county, so we need to find a way to bridge all those gaps in every different area of the communities in all of the Allegheny County. I remember having my business. I had it in Crafton, and I also had it in Ingram. When Ingram decided to get rid of their fire department, which was volunteer, and allow the city to take over, my goodness, I felt like I was in the middle of a trap that I didn't know what. But in the end, the best thing that happened for Ingram was that the city took over. They had always a fireman working, because our firemen are paid. They had volunteer. So they need their safeties, and we need to make sure their communities are taken care of as well.
Thank you.
All right, final two. According to the Brookings Institution report, in order for this region to successfully continue its innovation track, it needs to have a robust diversity plan that increases, attracts, and develops and includes diverse talent from African American and other underserved communities, people of color. If elected, how would you support this effort as county executive? Mr. Lamb.
You know, there's no doubt that that's true, and I would even go beyond that because we need to get serious about international immigration in this community as well. But I think it's a couple of things. First off, as county exec, I think you can lead by example. The administration that I will build will be diverse. We will reach out in every direction and make sure that African Americans in particular are at the table. It's what I've done as city controller. My first deputy was an African American. The highest ranking job after that was our chief accounting officer, also an African American woman. And so leading that way, I think, is the way that you do it. You have to lead by example, and then and not just in hiring, but in promotion and everything that you do. So, and it goes to the appointments of the various boards. You know, we've got boards of all the various authorities, and we've got to make sure that those boards are reflective of this community, you know, in every way that we can.
Ms. Inamorado.
The county must look inward if we expect the private sector to behave in a way that promotes diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we need to make the spirit of diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility something that's ingrained in the culture in the county across departments, not just create one position for it, but really live and breathe that work. That looks by first doing an internal analysis of where we are as a county. Do we have wage gaps? Do we have experience gaps based on race, gender, ability, things like that, so that we can start to remedy those and create more equity within county government first and foremost. But then when we're talking about how we interact more inclusively with our region, we need to bring county government out from downtown and into our municipalities and hear the community's voice on what their priorities are in our budgeting.
Mr. Parker.
The only way that you fight capitalism is through competition. We need to compete with other cities, other municipalities, other counties, and other states. And we can do that through innovation, through technology. That's my platform. That's what I run on, diversity, inclusion, and innovation. We got millions of dollars coming from the federal government right now. I mean, follow me, for real. If you're serious about this, follow me, vote for Will Parker. I am on this. I'm on the heels. There's these innovation dollars. I'm following them. I want to make sure that they fall into the right hands. They haven't been given to people of color, and we need to increase that so we could create the new technologies, the new apps, the new software, the new electric cars, the new appliances of the future. We have to compete here in Allegheny County as well as with manufacturing as well.
Mr. Weinstein.
The next county administration should reflect the diversity of Allegheny County in every aspect. You know, I've always treated people with respect and treated people with dignity, and I will continue to do that. It doesn't matter to me what color you are. It doesn't matter to me what nationality, what religion you are, what gender you are, or whom you love. What matters to me is that you're an Allegheny County resident. And as we transform this region, we do it together, and we treat everyone equal. We were at a forum on Sunday for the Asian Americans. That's one of the fastest growing populations in Allegheny County. And everyone should have a seat at the table. Everyone should have an opportunity to work at this county and be productive as we move the region forward. And I'm so committed to doing that.
Ms. Khaleesi.
This is something that we actually dealt with on the city school district when we received the $50 million from Bill and Melinda Gates. This was actually one of the top things we did when we were hiring our teachers, because we wanted to make sure that we had the right teachers in front of our students, and this is where the Teachers Academy came in. But when we began this, what we did was just out of this world. They came up with a way of interviewing without asking if you were a male, a female, white, black, blue, purple, yellow, what nationality, what language you spoke. It didn't even go by that. It literally was picking you by the qualities and the qualifications that we needed in front of our most neediest children out there. And it worked. It worked. We were getting the best of the best. And I think we still have the best of the best.
Mr. Fawcett.
Of course, we have to do everything possible to increase diversity in the county, and I would do everything to do that in my administration. But let me say this. One of the things that we're not talking about, but I would as county executive, is the fact that we don't have enough diversity at all in our communities. What do I mean by that? We have de facto racial segregation. We're actually the most segregated city and community in county in the country. And, you know, that has to be addressed. And we have not. Government caused this problem, and banks caused this problem in the first place, so it's government's job to help correct it. And the number one thing we can do as a government is be cognizant of the fact that we need to invest in the urban core, in the areas where we disinvested over time, and we deprive people of the ability, for example, to move to the suburbs and have integrated neighborhoods, which we don't have, which is a big embarrassment and has to change, and it's something I would address as county executive.
Thank you. That was our last question, and we will now move to closing statements. You each will have 1 minute, and we will begin with Representative Innamorato.
So I'm very proud of the campaign that I have built because it looks like the county. It includes labor organizations, environmental organizations, Black, Jewish, LGBTQ-led organizations are a part of my campaign. If you go on sarahforall.com, you can see all of our donors because I believe in transparency and accountability. I say that because governing is a team sport, and I have the track record of building the coalitions necessary to get things done. I have the energy, the youth, but also balance with governing experience that is relevant to this role. I have the vision that can lead us forward and ensure that we are creating a region where we can all thrive, not leave us in the past with the status quo.
Thank you. Mr. Parker.
Okay, I'm the only candidate up here who I know of doesn't accept donations from anyone. I'm not tied into any special interest. I'm running this campaign fully funded by myself because I don't want people to think that I owe them anything. Only people I owe is you guys and girls and women. But I want to end with this. Allegheny County is more than just Pittsburgh. There's 130 municipalities that make us who we are. When important decisions are made, the next county exec has to understand who they will affect. Under my administration, no one will be left behind. It's time for brave new leadership. You deserve someone who really cares and will stand up and defend us against the special interests, tax increases, and inflation. Right now, we're all in the same race, and that's why I'm not asking for your vote because of the color of my skin. I'm asking for your vote because of the burning desire that I have within to make this county work for all of us. Overall, my top priority is to increase our value and make sure funding is allocated equally. Together, we will invest in our communities and quality of life. Together, we will fix our problems, and together, we will build a safe and clean, livable and lovable place that we can all proudly call home. My name is Will Parker, and I'm ready to deliver for each and every one of you. Thank you.
Mr. Weinstein.
There are a lot of issues facing this county. We've touched on so many of them this evening, and there's so many more that we haven't even touched on. This campaign and this race is about the person that has the most ability to step in there tomorrow to run this county and operate it as efficiently as possible. A person that doesn't need to be trained on how to be the next Allegheny County executive. I have 25 years of experience as the treasurer. I have been elected 6 consecutive times in this county. I understand every dynamic of this county that we need to and address the issues that we have and have concrete, consistent plans on how to do that and how to partner with our municipalities, how to partner with our business community, how to partner with our labor, our friends in labor and organized labor, and the foundation and the nonprofit communities. We need someone that's not divisive on either side.
Thank you. Ms. Kolesi.
Thank you, and I want to thank all of you for coming here this evening. This was, I love to have audiences in front of me. I know I feel more comfortable with all of you here. I would like you to know that I spent 12 years of my life not getting 1 red cent for what I've tried to do for our children. Our children are our future. I beg of you, when you vote, if you have not already, make sure that when you look at the people on this stage, you look and see who actually has a track record, who actually has done their job. And I say that from everybody on this stage. That includes, and I am going to go here, and I know I was told I had to behave myself, but at the end of the day, I have to tell you the truth. I am very concerned about the city controller having this position. As a school board director, I'm sorry, the city controller has the authority to control the school district and never has.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Mr. Fawcett.
So I think our region has enormous challenges, but enormous opportunities. I think we're working from, in some ways, a blank slate and can really make this place a beacon of sustainability, an innovation hub, and a place where really people want to stay and live. The very most important job of the county executive, in addition to running this multi-billion-dollar operation, is to lift his head up and say, where can we be in 10 and 15 years from now? Where do we want to be? And what can we do now to make that happen? I'm a person in this race that's taken on big challenges in my life. I'm not a career politician, but I was 8 years on the county council, the only one here that's passed laws and legislation at a county level. And I have bold ideas, and I have the plan to make them happen. Taking on big challenges, that's what I'm going to do as your county executive. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
Mr. Fawcett. I'm sorry. Mr. Lamb.
Thank you very much, and thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. You know, we wouldn't be here tonight if 25 years ago we wouldn't have taken that bold step to change our county government. I led that effort. I helped write the Home Rule Charter. That took vision, but it took also the determination to act on that vision, and that's what I bring to this race. That's what I bring to the table. It's about not only just stating problems, but solving problems. It's not just about having a vision, but making that vision a reality. And when you look at county government, and you want to really get understanding of what's going on, we have to have the tools of transparency that I've developed in the city so that we can really see the broken systems, see the injustice, see the corruption. That's what I bring to this race. I'm Michael Lamb, and I'm very excited to be your next county executive. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Let's hear it for our county executive candidates, please. Thank you all so much for coming and spending your time and engaging with us. We appreciate that. We'll let you get going here. We have a couple other items of business. I want to welcome BPEP to the crowd to do the drawing, who is handling the raffle. I want to thank all of the partners that helped make this event possible, the ones I read, Point Park University. I want to thank those that attended in person. I want to thank those that attended with us online. And we don't want to conclude without encouraging each of you to make sure that your voices are heard on May 16th, to make sure you have your voting plan, and to make sure that you submit your vote by mail-in or in person. You can go to 411 to find information about that. BPEP also has lots of good information on their website. The county website has excellent information about how to vote and where your polling place may be. Very quickly, BPEP, let's do the forum.
How did you see it? Wait, I gotta find it.
Let's have a hand for our moderators tonight. Josiah Gilliam, the new Executive Director of PUMP. Lisa Smith from KDKA and CW. Thank you all very much. We believe in intergenerational leadership at BPEP, so our intergenerational team is going to do this. Nyota Robinson is going to pull, is going to hold the bag. Our newest BPEPer, Devontae Rue, is going to pull. You're going to announce, and you're going to hand them out. You need to go up front with the tickets, the two of you. Okay. Lorraine Cross is our Civic Engagement Coordinator, and Yvonne from our Transformative Justice. John Lewis, Good Trouble. Okay, thank you.
Okay, our first winning number would be 404-3480. That's 404-3480. Just stick your hand up if you happen to have it. Okay, well, we'll try another one. Next number is 403-440. Yeah, they are. So we'll just read the last four. Okay. Last four is 3440. There we go. We got a winner. Well, there's five of them. So we'll be quick. Okay. Yes, put that away. The next would be 3470. Last call, 3470. That's good. Next number will be 3526. 3526. Final call, 3526. Okay. Next new number, 3478. Oh, there we go. Center row in the back. Okay. Next number would be 3469. Nope, there he goes. All right. Now, wait, is this the last one? That's 4. That was 4, right? Okay, this is the last one. 3439. Do we have a 3439? Okay. Yes. Oh, there he goes. We got a winner, Don Valentine. Oh. That was a good one. That was a good one. Okay, we're going to say last new number, 3519. Do I have a 3519? Last call, 3519. Pay attention, we're down to our last 2 gift cards. 3520. Do we have a 3520? Nope. Next. Okay. 3444. Do we have a 3444? Last call, 3444. New number, 3516. 3516. We have a winner over here in the back left. There we goes. Okay, last card coming up. I'm sorry, Josiah, we'll get you out of here. 3521. 3521. Come on. New number, 3476. 3476. Okay. 3453, new number. 34. There we goes. Hey, there we goes. I want to say congratulations to all the winners. As you know, that each election, it is your duty to always stand up and vote and be counted for. No matter who the candidate is, it's your family, your life, and your possible legacy. BPEP will always be there to help keep you informed and working with our partners, League of Women Voters and PUMP and VEAM and all the other organizations in Pittsburgh. We hope to keep our communities vibrant. Thank you.
All right, folks. We have a meet and greet for the candidates on May 9th. Look at our websites for information about that. Thank you all so very much. Thank you for being here. Thanks to Point Park. We'll see you next time.